What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott. The Washington Wizards blew a 15-point lead to lose their ninth in a row to the LA Clippers in LA. We're going to talk about that, my takeaways from this game, and there are some rumors and some comments made by other NBA execs about Bradley Beal and a potential move to LA, the Lakers, that is. So let's talk about that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, roll solo tonight. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Tonight's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So the Washington Wizards dropped their ninth loss in a row, this time at the hands of the LA Clippers. And on the first game of a back-to-back in LA, they lose this game 102-93. What are the reasons he lost this game? Well, pretty simple. You got to look at coaching. We're going to go ahead and go through the stat line individually and the team, and you're going to notice that is very, very even with LA. Both teams were dealing with their injuries. Obviously, we're dealing with Bradley Beal being out, Rui being out, and DeLon Wright. Both DeLon Wright and Bradley Beal are hamstring injuries, so it can be shaky. Now DeLon Wright is ramping up, so they said that there's a good chance that he should join the team on this road trip. Bradley Beal, he's ramping up too, and then Rui again is week to week. But let's get back to the stat line. This was a winnable game. They had a 15-point lead. Third quarter they were doing good, and then they gave it up. Looking at the starters, Monte Morris, again underwhelming, 12 points. Kispert, 2 guards, 7 points. Kyle Kuzma, this was a change tonight. He actually started at the 3, and Denny Avdija started at the 4. So I don't know if this, obviously hot stove is cooking up in the NBA right now, and maybe the teams want to look at Denny at the 4, because obviously if you look at teams like the Phoenix Suns are looking for a 4. So, really Kuzma or Denny could fit that role in Phoenix. But Kuzma, 17 points, 8 for 18 from the floor, 1 for 6 behind the 3-point line. So, considering Bradley Beal's out, he played well. Now he tended to, shoot low percentage shots, but I felt like overall he did well. Denny, 11 points, 10 rebounds. So again, he did well defensively, but 10 rebounds is solid. 11 points. As like we always say, you're not dependent on him to shoulder a lot of the offensive load. So 11 points, 10 rebounds, you'll take it from Denny. And Kristaps Porzingis, back from injury, dealing with lower back issues, 19.7 rebounds. So the starting unit played well. If you look at KP and Kuz, looking at the injuries, you want to expect more out of Kispert. I think Kispert is, he started out hot this season and then he kind of cooled down. So he's got to find his shot. Denny, and so the starting unit, again, this is a very winnable game. Before I get into the bench production, if you look at the team stats, field goal percentage, we shot 42% versus their 43, right? 3-point, we shot 36 to their 41. Free throws, we only shot 13 free throws. Big issue. We have to get to the line. 13 free throws. If you look at LA, they shot 16 for 26 at the free throw line. And they missed 10 free throws and still won the game by 9 points. So, look at rebounds. 49 rebounds for Clippers, 42 for us. Assists, 20 to their 19. Turnover, 16 for us, 14. So it was very even. Points in the paint, 54 points for us, 40 for them. So we did not capitalize off of points in the paint. We should have. And then going back to 3-point, we shot 36%, which is a lot better than we usually shoot. But again, this is a very winnable game. Very, very winnable game. It's just, you got to hold on the leads. We say it time and time again that this team tends to slack off when they have leads, and it kills them every time. It gets them every single time. We have got to keep the foot on the pedal. I think this is a very winnable game. Going into tomorrow, which the Lakers are struggling. They are also 12th in the Western Conference, but they're clearly. As much as it pains me to say this, the Lakers, even though they're 12th in the West, they're a better team than we are. Now they're obviously dealing with the issues, Russ, but we're gonna go slightly back real quick to the Clippers game. So this is a winnable game. We're gonna hit the bench. Barton played well. Barton, the will to thrill is starting to play well. 18, oh no, excuse me, 14 points, 5 for 12, 4 from 5 behind the arc. So he shot well. He was his ISO self, but I felt like ball movement was better this game. Goodwin, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Look, Goodwin continues to do a lot of these. I mean, he's a scrappy guard. 8 rebounds for a guard, 3 steals. His defense is on point. And that's why going into hot stove season, going towards the deadline, I think Jordan Goodwin is going to have a factor in whether we move certain players because he's playing well. You can argue that Jordan Goodwin should be the backup point guard, easy. And really, with the injuries we're dealing with, and with Monte Morris not really being the guy at point, you can argue he could probably start. I mean, Jordan Goodwin has been that good story, and it really is a testament to we have talent in the go-go. Just getting them playing time. And with Jordan Goodwin, with the playing time, he has responded. So that's the game in a nutshell. I mean, this is a very winnable game. Losing by 9. Again, we are our own worst enemy, and it doesn't get easier from here. Tomorrow we got the Lakers, then we got Phoenix coming up and Sacramento. So again, we are our own worst enemy. The biggest takeaways for me before we move on, free throw line. We have to get to the free throw line a lot more. 13 attempts is not gonna cut it. Gaff, real quick before I move on. 10 minutes again. The inconsistency when it comes to minutes for Gafford is puzzling to me. 10 minutes. I felt like he had to eat 6 points, but 10 minutes. Wes, in a nutshell, this loss is on Wes. The rotations have to get better. I mean, 10 points for Gaff. I don't understand. There was a string of games where he was getting playing time, excuse me, and he responded. And 10 minutes just ain't gonna cut it. You're putting too much time on KP. Look, KP, we all know the story of Kristaps Porzingis. He has all the talent in the world. He's a 7'3" guy who can shoot, who can defend, who can put the ball on the floor. But injuries have always been his issue. And if you continue to play him the extended amount of minutes you are, and you're only giving Gav 10 minutes, you're going to wear this guy down. You're going to wear him down. So that's my takeaway, everybody. Again, very, very winnable game. But ninth loss in a row. So, so before we move on, tonight's episode is brought to you by NHTS. Drive sober or get pulled over. You're hanging out with some friends and putting back a few beers. A few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you tow your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risk of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. I know in Virginia, they're going to start pulling people over for marijuana and alcohol. So, look, they're out there. So if you think you're okay to drive out a few drinks, think again. Play it safe. Plan ahead to get a ride. Only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. Seriously, y'all, drink at home. But if you're intending to go out to party, drink at the bar, definitely make plans to get home without driving. All right, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. How does it work? Picks 2 to 6 players, and if they go score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. Again, 25 times your money. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport you can watch. That includes the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, PGA Golf, college football, men's and women's college basketball, soccer, the WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and our neighbor to the north, Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out the Locked On Sports today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports today, available on this app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. So we're moving on. Now, there are reports from NBA execs that think that the Washington Wizards should move Bradley Beal to the Los Angeles Lakers for Russell Westbrook and first round picks. So at the end, obviously I'm looking for your feedback. What do you guys think? Should we send Bradley Beal to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook and two first? Now, let's think about this trade real quick. With Russell Westbrook, yes, he's making a good amount of money, but after this year, he's a free agent. So you're taking a supermax contract and you're trading it for a contract where at the end of the year he's a free agent. So that's money off the books. So that's a win in itself. Now you can argue, yeah, a couple of picks down are the Lakers. So if they're not picks down the line, the Lakers are always, so are they going to be lottery picks? But hey, any pick is better than nothing. We need draft picks. So what do you guys think? That's to me, would I make the move? Absolutely. I've said it time and time again. I get it. Russell Westbrook is struggling, but if we're trading Bill, then we're already making a decision that we're not trying to become a playoff team. We're not competing. So for a contract that is, to go off of Supermax and get a expiring contract, to me it's a win-win. And there was in the Athletic, there was a article that talked about Denny Avdia saying that when Russell Westbrook was in DC, he was pushing him as a player. He was pushing him to get better. That's leadership. We need leadership on this team. We need a guy who's going to challenge people, who's going to hold people accountable. I think that we're serious about a rebuild. If we're really serious about a rebuild, you want to bring in the right culture. Okay. You bring in a veteran who, he's going to hold people accountable. I think it's a win-win for this team. I really do. Getting past this Supermax, if you have the opportunity, do it because that opens up cap room, especially if, with the reports that Kyle Kuzma wants out. KP has leaned towards staying. So, but even, if you keep KP and you move Kuz and Bradley Beal for first round picks, that's a win-win. We're recouping picks, we're getting cap room back, and we can really, really rebuild the right way. And I know the really the best way to rebuild is clean slate from the top down. And when I say top down, GM down, because Ted ain't going nowhere. So the top down, reinvent this team, scouting department, GM, you got to go into the offseason and really take a look at what's on sale. Now, I think that his rotations have been bananas. He's too nice of a guy. The head coach, you got to get into these guys. But a part of me does want to give him a year to see if he can find young guys to match his system. But I mean, Wes, you got to look at but you do have to look at the head coaching position in the offseason. He clearly has not implemented his system. Being a defensive minded head coach, the defense has not improved. It's not much better than under Scott Brooks. I mean, it's just that's the truth. So you're calling Carter's defense, and your defense is in the bottom half of the league. That's an issue. So you do have to evaluate the head coaching position going into the offseason. You have to. So, all right, y'all. Before we get into questions, because I want to know what y'all think about the trade and about the loss, anything's on y'all's mind. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and the World Cup. We got it all at BetOnline.net. If you love sports podcasts like this one, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. It is my go-to, so definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. It's a very user-friendly betting spot. So, getting into comments. What's going on, everybody? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. It's tough, man. It's ninth loss in a row. A very winnable game. 15-point lead blown. So, I definitely want to know what everybody thinks. So, let's start with MK. What's up, man? 9 loss. I get it, man. 9 straight losses, man. And the prospect of that changing is getting slimmer by the game. I think LA, outside of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, I think is a very winnable game. They're struggling, but it's a different kind of struggle than the Wizards because it's a team that has real all-star talent. Now, I'm not to say, I mean, Bradley Beal is an all-star. I'm not saying that we don't have all-star talent. And I think Kuzma could play up to be an all-star. And I think KP is an all-star. But, They're just a different team. They just then we're just a really bad team. Defensively, we're bad. 3-point shooting, we're just not consistent. So I get it. We have a really, really long road in this road trip, so I definitely get it. Champ, what's good? They play better without Bill. Yeah, yeah, they do. They do. They play. It's no. It's very noticeable that they're a better team without Bill. Bill, tends to hold on to the ball. He tends, the turnovers in crunch time, the lack of being clutch. Now, there's a few games this year there where he was clutch. Early on the Chicago Bulls game, he was clutch, but it's just he's got to be better. So they're very good without him. None against Bill, but they just are. So I definitely get it. Chimp again was good. They need really back. His points help out. Absolutely. Yeah. His points off the bench, we're missing that. Outside of Barton, Goodwin, he does what he can. He's a scrappy guard. Goodwin, it's effort with him. He's not going to light up the stat sheet, but the blocks, the steals, the effort, the defense, the attitude. He accounts for stats that aren't always categorized. So, but outside of that, what do we really have on the bench? Gil plays sparingly. Taj he's just not the same player he once was. So yeah, I totally agree. Corey Lott, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight, man? Let's see. Comments again. Appreciate everybody showing up tonight, showing some love. Hey, then what's going on, man? Wes has to go. This job is over. It's just too much for him. I agree. He's out his depth, man. He's being out coached, but it's a shaky situation. The reason for that is, yeah, on one hand, you can say, yeah, he's got to go. He's just not it in DC. His rotations are terrible. He doesn't have enough fire. He has to go. But I think there's two reasons why I think that he's not going anywhere, at least for not another season. One, his name and his link to the franchise. We know how this franchise is. Just that fact alone, they're going to hold him for at least 1 or 2 more years because this is the way this franchise is. It takes a long time to really get fired from the Wizards. Look how long Ernie Grunfeld lasted. Look how long Scotty Brooks lasted. I mean, let's be real. He's not going anywhere. But a part of me, again, I'm going to reiterate, I think a part of me wants to see how he does in a rebuild, at least 1 year in a rebuild, how, to really get these guys. But in order for that to be successful, scouting has to be better. And that goes into Tommy. It goes into his scouting department. Scouting has to get better. Drafting guys, we've got to get better at drafting. We're terrible drafting, and it just shows. So, in order, for him to find the guys to implement his system, scouting's got to get better. So again, to reiterate, top down. This team has to change top down from GM to scouting department to head coach. Going into the offseason, you have to evaluate everybody because, in my opinion, and really, I believe I share the same opinion a lot of you do. It has to be a total rebuild. It's time. It is definitely time. Let's get into some more comments. Corey, got you. West has no substitutional awareness. Absolutely. He rotations are the moon to this guy, man. I mean, the rotations are he's being out coached. It shows. Now, I mean, second year, I get it. That's what I'm saying. A third year, evaluate him in the offseason, but he definitely has to step up. His rotations, his lack of fire, he's just not it right now. He's just not it. So let's see right here. Bison for life. What's good, man? At the point, a coaching change may need to happen, but the product on the court is not producing. Yeah, it's a healthy mix of both. You can look at coaching and say, yeah, he's being out coached. But if you look at this roster, and it's very similar to the roster last season without the drama. You're putting a lot of spare parts together to try to surround Bill, and it's just not enough, man. It's hard to build around a max guy. It really is. If you look at LA with Davis and LeBron, it's tough. Look at their offseason. They had to find guys who are willing to be on the minimum. It's tough. It's going to be tough to surround Bill if indeed going forward that's the position they hold. It's going to be tough. It's just the money is drying up, especially when you don't have enough picks. You're running out of assets. So I definitely agree. So it's shaky. Head coaching. Second year, they're not gonna move him, and that's why I say going into the offseason, they have to evaluate him. But I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Corey again, what's up, man? You read my mind. Blow it up. Blow it up. Absolutely. Time to blow it up. We're going to get into a couple more comments, but again, appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all watching tonight. Come out, showing some love, talking to me, talking some basketball. All right, let's see. I am Almighty God. They're tanking. It's over. See you next year. You know what? I mean, And where there's smoke, there's fire. Look at the decisions that are being made right now. They're not exactly pushing people to come back from injury. You know, I mean, I know that hamstrings can be shaky because DeLon's been out for a minute with a hamstring, but they're not exactly pushing people to come back either. You know, in a way, they're starting to tank, yeah, because you're already seeing most of the time in media when you see these reports. Now, sometimes people are pushing reports because they want to get the name out there or they're trying to, I guess, force a team. You know, whether it's coming from an Asian or whatever, but or an opposing team. But most of the time, you know, and I know what y'all thinking, the media, you know, ain't nothing 100% with the media, and I get it. But you know, when you see reports starting to come out, there's a reason. You know, looking at Bill to LA reports, there's a reason they're coming out because the Lakers, they for some reason they expect the league to get together and try to help them win the championship, but you know they need help. And adding, do I, you know, looking from the Lakers' perspective, would that make them a contending team? I think that if you look at past teams, especially past Lakers teams, you know, having the ball, you know, having a team with a bunch of people that need the ball never equals success. I don't know if y'all remember how many of you fans remember when Karl Malone played in LA and you had him, Gary Payton. You know, it was too many people that need the ball, and it didn't it was never going to work. So I don't know if you put Bill on the lineup with LeBron and AD could work, but really I don't care because I'm not a Lakers fan. So, um, what's up? I don't want to butcher your name, but last name is Horn. What do you think about Denny Avia? Honestly, what I think about Denny, I like I like Denny as a player. You know, I love his defense, but he's not a finished product. You know, he definitely is a project to a certain degree. His defense has proven to be an above average defense. He play defense at a high level. It's just that shot is just getting worse, man. You know, coming out of the offseason working with Drew Hanlon, you know, a lot of people had expectations that his shot was going to be better, and it just hasn't. You know, while he's starting to drive a lot more, there are times in games where he's hesitant to drive. You know, he'll dish the ball off the last minute. You don't see that aggression that you want to see from Denny. So overall, I think he's a good player. You know, I kind of want to hold on to him because I want to see how he develops. I do like Denny, but you know he's got ways to go to be the complete player to really be that starter going forward is part, you know, as far as being part of the future. So, but overall, I think he's a good player. He has work to do. So let's get it. Trillo one. Bill is literally getting a quarter billion. Bill is getting paid, brother. I mean, make no mistake about it. Bill is wealthy, man. So you know, looking at that contract and him being, you know, signing the Supermax, we all knew. We all knew. You know, unless you're one of his hardcore supporters, we knew that it was bananas for him to sign that. We knew it. It was bananas from the get go. He should have never. We should have never signed had him sign that contract because it's going to stunt this franchise. Unless we move on, it's going to make it very hard year after year for the next 4 to 5 years for us to build around him. Because look, every year he's on his team, that's more money we pay him. So I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, this team. I believe that you should listen to your fans to a certain degree. Now, are you going to let fans dictate every move you make? No, but the fan base should be your pulse to a certain degree. Let me know if you agree. I think that your fan base should be your pulse. You know, you got to listen to your fan base to a certain degree. You know, to sign a guy to a Supermax contract, knowing that half, if not three-quarters of the fan base doesn't want it, what are you doing, man? When he's clearly not a number one option, when he clearly is starting to slow down. Look at his production. You know, he's starting to slow down. His age is starting to show a little bit. Now, his age ain't that old in the real world, but in NBA, he's starting to get up there. Let's be real. Once you get in your 30s, man, you know you change as a player. So, you know, dedicating that amount of money to a guy going into his 30s, I just I don't get it, but you know, like they say, it is what it is. Corey, what's going on? Goodwin deserves a long-term contract. He has played his butt off. He has played very, very well. He deserves to get paid. But the thing is, do I think he will? I think he will. I think they're going to kind of wait for things to happen, wait for moves to unfold. But I think you got to look at a long-term place here in DC because his fire, his leadership. Look, it's leadership because people watch his effort. People see him diving for loose balls. People see his effort. That is leadership. That's leading by example. Look, I'm a military guy, man. You're United States Army. You know, leading by example. That is the motto of a commission officer and an NCO. You know, leading by example. He does that. So I completely agree. I want to see him going forward. You know, looking at this backup point guard position, You could see Monte being moved because DeLon coming back. DeLon has that defensive prowess and the 3-point capability. You know, when we're at full strength with Jordan Goodwin and DeLon back with Monte, Monte could easily find himself odd man out. So absolutely. All right, let's roll back to Champ. Let Brad go if he wants to go. Well, I think he's leaning, man. If you look at his body language, I think he's leaning towards leaving. I think he's leaning. So I don't think it's going to be much pushing because every 9 straight losses, he's starting to feel the heat. He wants to win. He wants to win, and it's apparent that he's not going to win here. So if I'm Tommy, Brad, where you want to go? And I'm helping him go. That easy. All right, let's get into more. Oh, Nev, what's up, man? We need no silver star. Yeah, I mean, no. If you look at certain franchise guys, certain top tier guys, they're sacrifice. LeBron, you know, granted, his contract in the NBA is not his moneymaker. It's obviously, you know, his shoe deals, so he makes money off the court, but he's, salary wise, he is sacrificing in the past. You look at a lot of star players, they have sacrificed. Look at, Bradley Beal said in offseason that he wanted to be, what's that guy from Dallas, man? Dirk Nowitzki of the Wizards. Look, Dirk took pay cuts a lot. Dirk took pay cuts because he knew that in order for you to build around him, you're not going to be able to be a max guy. I think it was selfish. It was very selfish on his part. And you add that to his comments, man, wow, because it's very selfish. You see a lot of stars in the past that have taken less money because they know that when you make that money, it's very tough to build around you. It's tough. So it was definitely a selfish move. I'm with you on that. Egg Reeves, what's up, man? I love it. Trade to get that contract off and get all the first rounds we can get. Absolutely. Thank you. Look, I get it. Russ is not the same guy. Well, we don't know. He doesn't fit with the Lakers, but you still see the high energy. You still see the motor, and it's only 1 year. We're already going towards the halfway mark of the season. So, to get the contract off anyways, and you get a couple of first rounders for them to get rid of Westbrook, easy. Easy. I am dropping Bill off at Dallas myself. So I'm with you. I think that is a good move. If we could send him to LA. Let's see. Chimp, back at you, man. Denny will get a trade soon. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to rebuild, then see what you got with the young guys, at least one season. Obviously Rui, if you're going to trade any of the young guys, Rui will be the guy because he's going to a contract year. So, or this is his contract year. So he's going into restricted free agency. So he would be the guy. But if I'm rebuilding, I'm going to see what I got with Denny. Because obviously, if you get rid of Brad, if you get rid of Kuz, even KP, but if you're rebuilding, he's going to get a lot more playing time. You got to see what you got at least 1 year with Denny, with Corey Kispert, and Johnny Davis. I know Johnny Davis has been struggling, especially in the go-go. He's just he's not that guy. But at least give him a year to see what you got and go from there. And that's what I would do. Samurai Jack, and I'm gonna do a couple more comments and we're gonna call it a night. Samurai Jack, what's up, man? Loving the name. Lakers picks probably won't mean much since they may improve with Bill. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. With them being a fringe playoff team, they're not gonna be the most glorious picks, but then you have more negotiating room. You can move those picks. You can move those picks, move up in the draft. So it's one. Trades, not trades, but draft picks are one of those things where it's better to have them and not need them because they're assets. So I definitely agree with that. So we're gonna do 2 more comments, y'all. Trello, what's up? No good free agents ever come to DC. Yeah, absolutely. That's always been an issue. But how do you combat that? The blueprint or the Golden State Warriors? I'm gonna tell you why. If you look at Golden State and look at if you look at their roster, most of your core guys were drafted. And yes, the Wizards were in position to draft every one of these guys, including Stephen Curry. Think about that. You know, what did they do? They developed them. If you look at Curry, he wasn't winning MVPs from the get-go. They developed him. And he dealt with injuries. He was a little injury prone in the beginning. He had ankle issues early on, but they developed him. They developed him. They got Clay. They brought in Draymond with a second round pick. And then saying that's the blueprint. You develop your core guys. These guys, you develop them. Okay. And then when it's time to compete, time to make that push for a playoff position, then you get your veteran guys, whether it was Kevin Durant, whether it was Iguodala, the list goes on. You have to draft better. That's how you build, because with the way the NBA works, homegrown guys, you can go into the luxury. not with outside. With Kyle Kuzma, for us to keep Rui and Kyle and still have Brad and KP, it would have been almost impossible to have all four of those. And even if we could go into the luxury of all four of those players, none of them really pushed the needle to a contending team. So, so I definitely agree with you. Couple more. Man, a lot of love from Israel, man. Hey, appreciate the love from y'all in Israel, man. Appreciate the love. And let's see. Wizards 2022. Ed Oliver has seen enough of the Wizards. I know you're gonna make E laugh, man. It's frustrating right now, but you know, I'm optimistic because I really I know I'm gonna sound bad, but losing gives us a better position in the draft. Lose away. I love this team, man. I love this team. I want to see them succeed, but it's time to rebuild. So it's tough to watch, man. It's tough to watch. We're gonna do one more, y'all, then we're gonna call it a night. One more. Champ West rotations cost us wins. Absolutely. Time and time again, his rotations have been terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. He's again going into the offseason, we had to reevaluate him. So, but to me, he's got to the end of the year to really prove his worth to this team, to this franchise, because you really got to evaluate him into the offseason. So we're going to call it a night, guys. Appreciate everybody coming out. I know it's late, a couple of hours after the game, so I definitely appreciate everybody coming out, showing me love. Thank you for making the Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and a take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. So check it out, y'all. We are close to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. So definitely like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know how we're doing. Twitter and Instagram. Me and the real Ed Oliver on Twitter and Instagram. Definitely check us out. Hit us up, show some love. So again, appreciate everybody coming out. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. For you Commanders fans, out of the 202, tomorrow's the day, or tomorrow night. Commanders, Giants, let's get this dub. And also, tomorrow we have the Lakers. So definitely watch the game. Let's try to get this dub against the Lakers. Ain't going to be easy, but we can do it. So everybody, have a blessed weekend. Have a good night, and peace.